Hello everybody, this is Jolly from Frank Scolari. Today we'll be taking a look at the first movie that we will be watching. This movie is based on a 70s show. You probably know what it is. It's Land of the Lost. Starring Will Ferrell, which I think is the person that we're all sick of nowadays. Because he's been in so many comedy films like Jim Carrey, but Will is a bit annoying than Jim Carrey, Will Ferrell. Anyway, this came out in 2009, and it was released in theaters June 5th, if you can see. So yeah, today we're gonna watch the film because I have it on DVD. See if it relates to the original show. Is it terrible? Or is it bad? But if you didn't know, this is based on the original 70s television show by Sid Marty Krofft called Land of the Lost. A rip-off of Lost in Space, basically. Well, a rip-off of the show. Rip-off of Lost in Space and 1 million years BC, which, yeah, it is actually a pretty good show, but, yeah, you probably recognize Sid Murray Craft for making the Banana Splits characters, and also, the H. Puffin stuff. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm not too sure, but, anyway, so, let's not waste any time, let's go over 2009's Land of the Lost. So, at the start, we get an astronaut that is stuck in the land of the lost. You know he's gonna die. Okay. Alright, so yeah, he's gonna die for our first kill of the film. Okay. Grumpy. Oh, what were we. Oh, okay, so that's Land of the Lost. What do we read? Intro. So we get today.
It's nonsense. How do you respond to that? My critics, your critics, and there are a lot of them. To be more specific, Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking says this is nonsense. That's his theory.
Haha, so he just fails the Matt Lauer, studio. Okay, now 3 years later has passed.
Colleagues, I'll conclude with this. Our very future depends on one thing. Tachyons.
Okay, so this is Dr. Rick Marshall, played by Will Ferrell, of course. As you can tell, he's basically the main star of the film. And he plays a very annoying scientist, which is based on the father of two children. So, yeah. So, this is Holly, who is played by Anna Fell. And yeah, she's an adult. Not Holly from the original series, which was just a young girl. And she has black hair instead of blonde hair, like in the original show, Holly was little and had blonde hair. Which is very weird, this Holly, because she's romantic with Dr. Rick Marshall. Which makes no sense, because Dr. Rick Marshall was really Holly's little girl. So it's pretty creepy and doesn't make any sense, and that's why Holly in the film basically sort of sucks. So yeah. Dr. Rick Marshall ate too much. So, in this scene, Dr. Rick Marshall builds the Tachyon Amplifier, and of course ate too much, he's overweight, and just sitting on the ground, Holly trying to help him. Yeah, it's weird. So yeah. Okay. So they're not back in time, they're still there. Yeah.
14,000 calories later, found myself down at Subway, powering through a 12-inch veggie.
Now, this is one of the most annoyingest music of the film that makes the Tachyon Amplifier. It's this music. Just hang on a tick. Who's gonna play? Oh yeah. So yeah, that's basically one of the annoyingest music that it's in it. Okay, so now they're in the Devil's Canyon firework place, and then we introduce to Will here. Yeah. So yeah, so This is basically Will, who plays a douchebag who lives with fire, and who basically oh god, I can't really think. I'm just trying to watch the film, and he's basically a douchebag. And it's, of course, it's not Dr. Rick Marshall's brother, which is very annoying, like Holly. So yeah, that's mostly it. But yeah, by the way, he's played by Danny McBride. Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition. Let the greatest earthquake ever known. High on the rapids, it struck their tiny raft and fell down to 1,000 feet below to the land of the lost. Yeah, that's what they are in now. So they fall into the land of the lost, where they see a giant ship with a plane crashed inside. And also, it also has 3 moons and a broken door.
You bastard! That was way too fast.
Not funny. Okay, so here we get, of course, Chaka, and these 2 apes that want to kill him, or monkey people, I don't know.
Prepare to bow down and worship me. For behold, ye troglodytes, I command the power of fire. Well, it's not a good idea. You like me now, huh?
Okay, so this is when we get introduced to Chaka, where the characters introduce him. And for some odd reason, Chaka looks pretty weird to the show. And how Holly could, this is random, but Holly could for some odd reason speak their language. It's never explained. It's so dumb. Like, I don't know how it's explained. God, it's raining outside. I'll do this as possible. Okay, so now what happens is, oh god, the movie glitched. So now they're in this trap. Yeah, it's never explained why Holly can understand ape language. Okay, the best part is coming. Yes. Grumpy in the movie actually is updated with CGI, and he looks a bit bluey. So yeah, in the original show, Grumpy was brown, and of course was threatening to the Marshall family. This one does change a bit to Grumpy, and I actually like him more in the film, but I just want him to kill the characters. Okay, one of the strangest and weirdest things is that Grumpy knows human language. I'm not serious. Listen to this.
Not what you'd call an athlete. Mr. T-Rex. See? Walking away in utter, helpless. After all, his brain is the size of a walnut. Sure, his sense of smell may be acute, but eyesight, hearing, all of his higher functions completely compromised by that walnut-sized brain pan. I mean, forget about the Polish. It's the T-Rexes who are the real dummies of the world. In fact, Chuck, funny story.
How is that possible that a dinosaur knows someone speaking in English? That's the worst part about Grumpy in the movie. But this is probably just my own opinion. But anyway, now Grumpy's gonna do the retro round of the lost thing in the cave like he usually does. And that is roars back after he leaves the cave at the camera, which is exactly what happens in this. So they decided to stay at the cave for the night with these dead people. So, yeah. For some odd reason, there's another stupid, Grumpy scene that can also understand doing what? And as that Grumpy delivers a gift to Marshall, I said that, and he wraps it up. The T-Rex had tiny arms, and also, how could it do that? How could a T-Rex see it wraps a present, and surprise, surprise, he gives Marshall a giant walnut to get revenge. Not too sure if the script writer didn't even care about the original show here. So now Dr. Rick Marshall now is like Harry Potter and gets visions in his head. So Rick Marshall was at the Beware Sleestacks place, and Will, being a moron, throwing bricks at his face, as you can tell.
I wouldn't touch that, all right? So dumb and childish.
This movie is dumb and childish. So we get our first look at the Sleestacks in this movie, and in my opinion, I think the Sleestacks are better compared to the original show in this movie. I mean, the designs actually look pretty good, but however, they use Pennywise like Jaws for some odd reason. That's besides, slingshot thingies for rocks, which is very weird, and a bigger change in the show into the film.
Do not fear me. I am Enoch, the all truth.
So we get our first look at Enoch, who's basically, of course, the orange Sleestack that talks out of them all and is smarter than the others, that knows space and time and controls crystals. Now, in the original show, in The Stranger, which is an episode, we see a talking Sleestack that is more smarter called Enoch, who basically guards the crystals. In this film, Enoch basically warns them that a bad man is coming.
To help me stop an evil madman who has already conquered my world, and now plans to conquer yours.
So, yeah, that's basically about him.
The Zon.
Ew. Yuck. That is disgusting. So Rick puts Padrasaur pee on him. It's just a pee joke. Like, it's not really interesting. It's not even funny as well, but he just drops pee and drinks it. Ew, it's just gross. So they follow Chaka to the Lost City, which has the Titanic, the Golden Gate Bridge, and even Big Boy appears. So yeah. And there's also Compsognathus in it. They look like him from the Lost World Jurassic Park, really. Okay, so Velociraptors attack an ice cream truck and eat the poor ice cream man, and T-Rex and Allosaurus come up. And we get a full-on chase scene. Okay, so yeah, they're being chased by the T-Rex, Grumpy, and Allosaurus, which was also in the show, the Allosaurus. And not funny joke again. Lots of unfunny jokes there in here. Okay, so the Allosaurus swallowed cannonball, some oxygen thingy, tank. Even though it doesn't make you freeze and explode. And it's exploded in a million pieces. Ugh. Annoying Jujuk Blowbox. So Marshall's actually making a cameo of singing the original Land of the Lost song on the ukulele, and a mosquito terrorizes his back. The mosquito just binding onto him. Okay, this scene's actually a bit funny. Okay, so Dr. Rick Marshall and Will and Holly end up in a pteranodon nest with baby pteranodons in their eggs.
Ready? A five, six, seven.
Okay, so now this scene is we get the baby pteranodons now. They're hatching from an egg. They look a lot like little baby Rodans, which is pretty strange.
Need this job. Please God, I need this job. I've got to get this job.
What? Seriously, Land of the Lost is a 70s children's educational sort of TV show. Land of the Lost is a kids show, and this movie is basically immature, so that makes no sense. And in the scene, they get drunk from this juice thingy. It's absolute weird. So a giant crab comes to kill these people, but then, yeah, it's dead quickly, and they eat the crab. For yeah, where that big orange thing came from, or lemon thing, I'm not too sure. So if you know Enoch is the villain really and is planning all this, the Zard's actually really a good guy until.
If you're hearing this, heed my warning. Do not believe. No! Enoch, no!
And so he gets murdered by Enoch. And also, by the way, Holly gets kidnapped by a Sleestack as well. Dun, 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 dun.
Don't do that. Just focus.
They had to be the worst costumers ever. So, Enoch has captured Holly, and she's in the cage getting fed to the Sleestack god, and Marshall and Will are in Sleestack costumes. And they do the worst job at being Sleestacks.
To deliver a tachyon device to Enoch.
You and Holly, you've got to deal with us.
Okay, so they get rid of the Sleestacks by throwing them into the Goddard Pit, which is the fire. And Rick Marshall saves Holly. Okay, that is just highly wrong if you just relate this scene to the TV show, which Holly kisses Marshall on the lips, like in every movie with romantic ships. So Enoch is here, finally on land except for in his home, and Enoch has his plan to take over the world with Sleestacks. Well, even though we have the Navy, the SWAT, the police, and the Army, we can fight them back, of course, if they actually do. Because, of course, we're Americans, baby. And so Grumpy returns again to fight Marshall. I just really want him to eat him. I don't know how the Grumpy is eating the other two, because back then T-Rex was an apex predator, would eat anything in its path, but doesn't really seem to eat Holly and Will, but more target Marshall. It's really strange. Marshall versus Grumpy. Man, I want to watch this. I want Grumpy to eat him. Finally, it'll be like the lawyer on the toilet from Jurassic Park. I just want it to be like that. Marshall sitting on the toilet and Grumpy eating him. God, that would be the best. Finally, yes. Oh my god, thank you so much, Mr. T-Rex. Man. Yeah, you show him the lesson. So, Dr. Rick Marshall is finally dead. I really want Grumpy to eat Jar Jar Binks in the Phantom Menace. So, they knock out the Sleestaks, and they're gonna lose. Great. Ha! 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 How? How did he make it out there alive? So, Marshall's alive. We get a cool scene of T-Rex killing Sleestaks. But still, how is he alive? He was dead. We saw him go down his throat. He's dead. Whatever. So, he's alive anyway. That's stupid.
Listen, when you talk about this, then you will. Please be gentle. Okay?
This is stupid. Okay, so Grumpy's now friends with Rick Marshall. Makes no sense, really. Now's the last we see Grumpy. So they go to confront Enoch and finally stop him, and one of his crystals is destroyed, and Enoch has to be one of the weakest villains I've ever seen in a film, because he does nothing, except just tells Marshall to don't do it. Yeah, he's one of the weakest villains I've ever seen, really. So they finally go back to their to the Devil's Canyon, and they're back on Earth. And Will and Chaka stay in the land of the lost, and I think they defeated Enoch, but I don't know how. So it's just weird. So then we finally get to see Chaka's tribe and Cave Woman come to Will. Pretty disturbing scene. We get another dumb and not funny Matt Lauer scene at the start again. Yeah, this is boring mostly. And so there's an egg, and guess what happens? Again. A baby Sleestak hatches for the sequel that never got to be seen again. It was Land of the Lost from 2009. And it's not the best film, and it's not the best that Will Ferrell has done. Now, trust me, I actually do like a bit of Will Ferrell, especially in Anchorman. I love that film, it's one of his best. But with Land of the Lost, it's not really his best. Because, of course, he keeps on acting like a child everywhere, which is very annoying. There's pee jokes, poo jokes, sexual references, swearing, nothing that we would see in the television show. It's about to say cartoon, but not. Now, guys, if we get up to 10 subscribers, I'll do another one of these for it, please. By the way, Sid Murray Croft, the original creators, hated the movie and apologized to fans, and are trying to bring it back to the big screen. Shh. Dun, dun.